Hey there, good to see you. I'm gonna invite you to breathe with me for a second here. In and out. Yeah, we're gonna vibe. Absolutely. And there's our card. Okay, so today's card is Passion will soon turn to prosperity. A favorite hobby is about to become a lucrative income source. Grab this opportunity with an entrepreneurial spirit and unwavering determination to succeed. Trust in your unique talents, knowledge, and creative flair. As you blend work with pleasure, a harmonious new life will resonate. Through perseverance and innovation, you will gain wealth and fame by following your dream. Pursue this transformation as your hobby evolves into an adventure that's both emotionally and financially rewarding. Remember not to work so hard that you kill the joy of your pursuit. Success will be pointless if your formerly relaxing hobby turns into a sad, stressful grind. Ain't that the truth? I love it. Oh, all right. So, lucky numbers are 99, 48, 22, 41, 93, and 9. Oh, I love that. Brilliant. Congratulations. Well, it's actually quite auspicious because what I wanted to talk about today was how do we hunt our fears? I know, you're like, Stace, okay, let's connect the dots for us, right? Okay, so it's great that success is on its way. However, if you're like me, you may have a tendency to bring the past into the future. It's not because we want to, like, hey, let's bring all of our shitty baggage along for the ride. Not so much. It's more that it's based on survival instincts, right? Where it's like, okay, don't do that again. Or, make sure that you just look out for that spot because that's usually where the saber-toothed tiger is, right? If we're looking at our limbic system. The sad fact is, we do it, period, right? So how do we hunt down our fears and deal with them? And if you have been on a healing journey, you understand that it's less about adding energy to it, but more about letting them dissipate, which is why we love bringing fears into the light, because that's how they end up dissolving before our eyes. We're like, oh, hey, this is a fear I had. That's ridiculous. Ha! Boom. And the way the brain works is that you don't remember it because it's no longer entrenched in those different cortexes of your brain, in those different levels. So you don't remember that you had that fear in the first place. It's a very strange thing, but once you get into it, you're like, oh, wow, that's one of the reasons I love journaling. Because otherwise, you'd have no idea the stuff you've left behind. It's a weird thing that the brain does. So, back to the question at hand. How do we hunt our fears? Because we don't need to take them along with us, and they have a tendency to be enmeshed in our thinking, in our behaviors. So I'm going to tell you a story. So the other day, I had the same message while I was meditating and a few other different things. We read the signs, my friends, yes? And so the messages and the signs were saying, like, you gotta get to the root of your fears. Now, there have been some fabulous things. We've talked about a couple of them already on this channel. One of them being the daily practice through the crappy childhood fairy, and we talked about another one with the change meditation the other day. So this time I had the idea, you know what? Let's purge the beliefs. Because I've been doing the daily practice for quite a while, to the point where I really appreciate how I get to actually work through my fears. The stuff I was writing about when I first started are not the fears that I am writing about now. I have progressed beautifully past stuff that used to just stay rent-free in my head forever. For years, my friends. And now all of a sudden I'm able to get to things that are like really meaty, that are able to actually fix what's going on, as opposed to the stuff, the thoughts, the fears that I was distracting myself with before. So what I did was I took my I have a book. This one was a friend, Starlene Fox. She gave it to me when I was early in my recovery days. And she's like, hey, do you have a book? You have the book Shit to Let Go Of. And I was like, ooh, I love this book. What is the book? Like, who's the author? I'll look it up. Shit to Let Go Of, right? She's like, no, 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 Stace. You grab a notebook and you fill the pages with shit you need to let go of. And you write down, and it just takes a page, and you can go back and you kind of look and you track your progress, and it helps you to get it out. And I was like, oh, I like this. So I have the Shit to Let Go Of book. Anyways, I go to this book and I start to purge my beliefs. How do I really believe that the world works? Because now that I am at this particular level of self-awareness and compassionate analysis and observation, it's a bit easier for me to be able to go, oh, wow, yeah, no, I honestly legitimately have this thought because I've been able to actually identify it in these different situations, scenarios, behaviors, choices, and actions. So, I'm writing down, I believe that the world works like this. I believe that I'm meant to work harder and other people are meant to get it faster. I believe that I'm meant to get less while other people get more. Right? Like, you name it, I'm writing it. 5 pages later, a double space, thank goodness. I'm like, whoa, right? Like, I'm like, okay, I had a lot of stuff floating up there that I needed to get through. So, step 1 on how to hunt your fears, write them down. Step 2, take a look at them. Like, actually take a look at them. And flip through the book and get a sense, but don't rush to try and fix things. That's not the point. The point is to allow you to see it. Because what's going to happen is it, like so many of these techniques that I talk about, they kickstart a domino effect in different parts of our body, brain, energy, and spirit. It's beautiful. And so you want to give yourself time for the domino effect to take action and for you to recognize its impact over the next couple of days. So a few days later, I go through again and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to, because this was what I had the insight to do, was to cross out the false belief, right? Or the belief that I'm ready to change. So I don't like, you want to be able to kind of get a sense of like what you're working through. Again, you won't remember them after you've worked through them because it won't have any relevance to you anymore. So it's again going to just float through your brain like everything else. All right, so you cross it out with a line and then you go, what's an equal or responsive belief that challenges it directly? And that's going to allow you to get the shivers in your shoulders, to be able to allow your vagus nerve to relax a little bit and to settle in and tell your body and gut that you're doing just fine. And it allows you to actually streamline your process into identifying these beliefs, but then counteracting them in a really fun way. Now, the other thing I like to do, and this I'm not even there yet because frankly, you're not going to want to run through pages and pages and pages of this stuff. What I've learned over the years is that by giving myself an opportunity to build up the cup, build up the strength, then I'm more able to do things from a good place. Because we are in a marathon, my friends. We are not racing. And to be able to do things in a good way with your whole heart means that, well, with heart open, as I like to say, right? Because we work really hard in order to have access to our heart again. Oh my gosh. In fact, there's a deck I want to tell you about, but we'll get to that in another video because I realize I've been making some longer videos. I'm working towards doing some shorter ones. So today we are talking about hunting fears and beliefs and being able to take these beliefs that you are less than, inadequate, not enough, not fast enough, not slow enough, not wise enough, not like them, right? Oh my gosh. And challenging them with the facts as you've recognized them. This is something I was thinking about because, as I was mentioning, I'm working on the Patreon page to do a reasonable launch. And I was thinking about how, I'm putting out some different videos and what a good giveaway would be. And what I'm thinking is it's going to be sort of the legend, right? So just kind of gives you a sense of the editorial calendar, but it also gives you a sense of the main points of what I'm talking about. Because I was thinking about this, we can't talk about the impact of earth, air, fire, and water until we have to talk about that before we talk about how our bodies work or why our brains do the same thing or how, the function of homeostasis in one area will affect another, because we need to understand laws of nature first. And then we can scaffold and build from there. So having a legend will help you be able to follow along. Because ultimately, one of the things that is like a critical tool for day-to-day living here, let me tell you, is the daily playbook. Because it allows me to challenge the stories I've been telling myself about reality on a regular basis. And again, not with a ha-ha, right? Like, you were wrong, because that feels great. No, in a way that you're able to go, oh, wow, I've noticed that over the last 3 weeks, I was wrong about that. Huh. Right, I'll tell you where this came from, my friends. Being depressive and thinking that there were no good days left. Now you have to think, must have been going through this for like months, if not a year and a bit at a time of this, before I realized I needed to create a tool, because life was not worth living if I was going to continue on in this way. And by being able to simply track, was it the worst day ever? Was it an okay day? Was it a day that I loved? Was I able to get an understanding of the area of life that I was living in? And it also allowed me to be way less judgmental with myself when I was doing the scoring, when I would get different support systems. Like, so if I remember I was therapied out. Counseling, psychology, psychiatry, I was done. I just wanted to have a conversation with somebody rather than another professional, because I adjust how I talked, I adjust how I was relating, and ultimately, at the time, I needed to make friends again, and I didn't want to start every conversation with, hey, let me tell you about my trauma. Right, so being able to practice that, I had a beautiful peer support program I was able to get into. And I was on a waiting list for over a year for this one, because again, we've got great free services, but you got the waiting list to go with them, right? Because we all need them. Anyway, so I finally get into this program, and it's a beautiful peer support program. And at the beginning of it was just coffees. Like, we would meet once a month for coffees, and the person that they had paired me up with, well, the first one didn't necessarily work, but the second one did. And that I was grateful that I was able to go through options, because I have a laundry list of stuff that I'm talking about, right? Like, when you're saying I'm bringing you 20 different things as opposed to, hey, this happened. It becomes much more of a translation exercise every time you're working with someone that's going to be able to help you. And coming to terms with that is such a humiliating, humbling experience, because it can be great, it can be terrible, but having to go, well, here it is from this perspective and then this perspective. I'm going to explain to you why this is okay because of this situation. Like, anyway, long story short, peer support worker that was actually had quite a few of the situations, and I mean like some of the more important ones, so that I was able to connect in a much more meaningful manner over coffee. Again, to simply just be myself and to support them as well, because it was important for me to be able to show up in a reciprocal way. Part of the work is understanding the reciprocity of relationships. And it still is the place where I end up getting the most twisted in my stomach, because I'm trying to figure out, is it reciprocal? Is it healthy? And how am I going to be able to figure this one out? Anyway, back to hunting fears and beliefs. So I'm going to wrap it up with, I think we've got a pretty good understanding of the exercise here, because I agree. I think that you have some amazing things on the horizon. And just like Zoltar says, success will be pointless if our formerly relaxing hobbies turn into sad, stressful grinds. Let the amazing things in our lives lift us up and carry us forward. Keep it fun. As far as missions go, again, not a bad one to have. So, my friends, let's keep it fun. I'll see you next time. Mwah!